Welcome. Time to get interactive. Everyone is here.
Hi, Steve. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's very interesting how this case is going,
I
right?
know. Yeah. I mean, who would allow such an act to be perpetrated against them, and to what end?
Oh, well, let's not pronounce judgments on it yet. We don't really know the exact details.
We need to take our time. Like the clinical psychologists are saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we have today?
Well, we will be talking about Ada, but we also start the show on a sad note: the death of Francis Thomas Anderson, a 29-year-old man who was shot with his pregnant wife home.
Wow, there's spots of blood on the staircase. Are the doors open? Can we go in?
Yeah, I'm having this. Okay. So when they got here, they jumped on here.
And like you've been hearing on today's big story, when the news broke Monday night, it sounded like something out of a movie: kidnapped, gang raped, and tortured. Today, however, it turns out that this whole saga might just be that. Hatred for foreign nationals in South Africa, as clashes in the city of Durban send hundreds of non-South Africans fleeing for their lives, is causing waves on social media, and deputy ministers snubbed by students. We'll tell you all about it in this edition of Joy News Interactive. My name is Ifwa Akwa Harrison. Remember, you can always join us in the conversations. We're on social media, facebook.com/Joy News on TV. You can also find us on Twitter at Joy News on TV or JN Interactive GH. Send us an email too. It's joynewsim@multitvworld.com. And we are also on WhatsApp. The number is 054-010-9009. And we shall rebroadcast, share your comments with the rest of the world. At dawn this morning, 29-year-old Francis Thomas Anderson was shot in front of his pregnant wife while defending his home. 3 young men suspected to be armed robbers shot the Evolution worker after what appeared to be a prolonged struggle. Joy News' Beatrice Edu reports that blood dotted everywhere in the 2-bedroom apartment at Kwashieman, which served as home for the couple. Viewers are advised that some of the following images might be gory.
Wow, there's spots of blood on the staircase. Are the doors open? Can we go in?
Yeah, I'm having this. So when they got here, they jumped on here.
Yeah, so those were some visuals there. Joy News' Beatrice Edu was at Kwashieman earlier today and spoke to some family members, and they narrated what happened. Please catch up with the full story on Joy News Prime at 8 p.m. And of course, the story is also on myjoyonline.com. We've been asking you what you think about this issue, this very tragic issue, and we've of course shared on our Facebook wall. And Junior Labs Camry says it is disturbing and very, very sad. I mean, what was his crime for such stuff to be done to him? Condolences to the family, especially his wife and mom. RIP, God knows best. Autry Benjamin says the world is full of wickedness. So sad. Oh, this is so pathetic. I think the world is really coming to an end. That's from Opong Lewis. And Ajovinad Tosu says, my heart goes out to his family, especially his wife. But if the robbers took none of his possessions, then this must certainly have been a contract killing. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Very painful indeed. And Joyce Ifwa Adi says, hey, what is all this happening to us in this country? Please, our security agencies, sit up. Things are not the same. It is too sad and heartbreaking. Laureen Ohinesi just says, very sad. My condolences to the family, especially the wife. May God save us from the hands of the wicked ones. And Bernard Bameni ending it for us on comments on this issue. The killers should know that whatever they sow, they will surely reap. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. So those are comments coming through on social media on the shooting of a 29-year-old young man, Francis Thomas Anderson, who was shot early this morning. Now, latest updates on the Princess Ada saga suggest that all might not be as it seems. Even the police were taken in. The IGP has ordered that the Takoradi-based radio presenter be brought to Accra for further investigations into what is turning out to be a spectacularly well-planned and executed fraud perpetrated on the Ghanaian people. Joy News is learning that Ada, as she is popularly called, is on her way to Accra, and we've been telling you all about it on today's big story. And we want to see what some of you think about it on social media. Nanam Ama Boating says, I think she is suffering from high fever. Isaha Kugbene says, the story is getting convoluted by the minute. More questions than answers. And Jerry Harry Lawson Bakari says, well, we are watching as events unfold. Kojo Owusu says, I knew it. In fact, the guy who found her is also an accomplice. Valley Kekpi says, lots of people are exporting nude videos and pics for hard dollars. Check this girl thoroughly. And Al-Hassan Abdul Salam says, what in the name of the world will someone create this bizarre story about herself for popularity's sake or what? So these are a few of your comments coming through on the whole issue. We are all waiting to see how it indeed unfolds. Now, Malawians living in South Africa have been evacuated following a wave of xenophobic attacks that have killed at least 5 people, including a 14-year-old boy in the city of Durban. The act is being heavily condemned. Apparently, local South Africans who are being blamed for fueling the attacks say other African nations are taking their jobs. It is not the first time something like this has happened. Let's go to South Africa, where resident Alicia in Dovlu joins us via Skype to tell us more. Welcome to Joy News Interactive, Alicia.
Thank you for having me.
Start.
I think about in January, 3rd week of January, there was a whole lot of looting and violence in Soweto, where the locals were actually, breaking into shops that were mostly owned by foreigners. At that time, I think the problem was very underestimated, and very few analysts commented that this has some, xenophobic underlyings to it. When the news were reported, it was just mostly about, oh, these are just criminals. All they're doing is looting and inciting violence. But actually, it ended up very badly because one of the Somalian shop owners actually had his shop destroyed, and in a way of self-defense ended up killing a 14-year-old teenager in Soweto. Of course, the locals were very upset with this, to a point where even the Zulu King made a statement about 3 weeks ago, although he claims that the media was just trying, to change and put words in his mouth. But he allegedly said that we are requesting those who come from outside to please go home to their countries. And after this had happened in Soweto, and after the teenager died, then, you know, there was a lot of anger. And of course, in KwaZulu-Natal, some people thought they have permission from the king, you know, to chase people out. So I think this all began in January in Soweto, because the last time we had such a serious incident was in 2008. And of course, the government and South Africans should have learned a lesson from that time. And I think we had enough time to prepare for this to happen again.
All right. Now, Alicia, we also understand that this is happening because the local South Africans are saying that their jobs are being taken from them.
Yes, I mean, this is, sometimes you ask yourself if really it is a socio-economic issue and that's the end of the story, and if the government actually delivered on the promises of 1994 that people would actually be more accepting of foreigners. Yes, that is the argument that is around the streets, that is the excuse that is being given to say that South Africans are complaining that they don't have jobs and that foreigners are taking their jobs. However, if you look at this analysis, you also see that the people who are mostly going to be targeted are not just all kinds of foreigners, because in South Africa we have some African businessmen, you know, that are staying in upper middle class areas of South Africa, let's say your Sandton, your Bryanston. These are people who have cars, who drive around, and I don't think they're ever targets of these xenophobic attacks. So these attacks happen mostly in your lower income areas where the community members are actually familiar with each other. They are neighbors, they know that my neighbor is from Pakistan or Somalia or wherever. So it is not really, if that was the case, then even the richest African foreigners in South Africa should be a target. But actually, because they are in their cars driving, they are at the fancy malls, they hardly, you know, become victims of such. So it does have a lot to do with class as well, that the poor who are trying to make a living are actually the biggest targets.
To join you is Marian Ture, you're welcome, who is in South Africa. Marian, welcome to Join News Interactive. How are you doing? Marian?
Are we live? Hi.
Hi, we are live. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, you are in South Africa right now, so you're pretty much in the midst of what is going on. How do you feel as another foreign national in South Africa at the moment? Is it as bad as is being reported on international media?
The thing is that I am actually with I guess feelings white. My feeling is not in it, but those are all the people who are in all of that. Perhaps we should the people why this all happened. It's not about foreigners who are here for safety, but the foreigners who live in the country who are trying to make a living, and so those who live in Durban area around the slums who are trying to make a living. What they're saying is that, okay, you have come here to take our jobs.
Yeah.
So we're not getting jobs to do. So they are rather the target, not someone like myself. So if it's from my perspective, then I don't feel any emotion at all. But then my heart goes out to those who are caught up in it.
How has the reaction on social media been about this particular issue? I understand that they're organizing a march and they're rallying through social media.
Well, social media, of course, it's on fire, and there's news everywhere. Wherever you go, even in the local bars and restaurants where I have visited, it's topic for the day. Wherever you go, people are talking about it. And on social media, the buzz is phenomenal. I believe articles where some gentleman from one of the media organizations actually visited one of the local neighborhoods in Durban. And what actually happened, from first account, a gentleman was actually sitting in a taxi. He's an Ethiopian guy in a taxi, and then someone just calls out, well, there's a foreigner here, and then guess what? The guy just is lynched there and then.
Yeah.
And you should see the pictures.
Wow.
Very brutal indeed.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, Marian Ture, who is in South Africa. Now we'll bring you more about what is being said on social media about this particular issue in what's trending later on in the show. But let's go back to talk about what happened in Kwashieman earlier today. We have a few interviews that we want to share with you. Let's have a look.
This dawn around 1:15 a.m. I heard an unfamiliar voices around my area, or my vicinity. You know, I live just directly opposite to where he lives, and he lives on top of a story building, whilst I occupied a down part of another building. So when I heard the noise, I thought it was my next door neighbors who were fighting, because they had a quarrel the last night. So I thought they were carrying it as a carry forward. Then I saw movements on top of the story building, that the guys were coming, guys were going there, and I said, no, what's happening? Immediately I asked myself what was happening. I heard a gunshot and a fire from the gun outside the fence wall. That's my fence wall. Then I saw 3 guys coming from my nephew's apartment, jumped from on top of the wall onto a BMW and landed on the ground, then went away. So immediately...
Were they masked?
Unfortunately, we have this doomsaw thing. So the whole place was dark, but I saw the shadows. If there was light, I would have seen at least 1 or 2 of them, but the whole place was dark. So I saw the shadows that 3 guys are coming out, yes. It's darkness here. So as they jumped, then the wife came knocking at my gate. Uncle Safo, I said, what's the matter? They say, your nephew have been shot. So I have to immediately change into something, follow there, climb the step, went to the hall. Where is he? She took me to the kitchen. Here lies my nephew in a pool of blood. I have no any other choice than to call the other neighbors to help me to lift him and put him into a car. I will use his own Mazda 4x4 vehicle and drove to Kolebo Teaching Hospital.
So that was the uncle of Mr. Anderson, who got shot earlier today in his home. Anyway, we have more for you, including how some deputy ministers were snapped by students after the break. Welcome back to Joy News Interactive with me, Efwa Akwa Harrison. Let's move on to some other issues. And in a bid to provide students with a channel to give government feedback, Deputy Ministers for Education and Communication, Messrs. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa and Felix Kwachiofosu, met with students from all 7 colleges of education in the Ashanti region. Now, the students became agitated when Ablakwa took to the podium to address them. Some of the male students, after humiliating the government officials, started filing out of the auditorium, leaving behind the female students and the perplexed guests, and they thereafter left. Poor them. The story is all on myjoyonline.com, and of course we've shared it on our Facebook page. And Jerry Harry Lawson Bakri is saying that it is unfortunate and therefore must be condemned in unison rather than given a political twist. Today is him, tomorrow might be you or me. In fact, not only did they embarrass their principals, but the entire people of the nation. At least he should have been accorded the maximum respect, not because of his person, but for the fact that for the office he holds, even though they may be they may have a genuine concern, but they went too far, and not everybody is condemning it. Some people agree with what the students did. Nuapo, God knows, Billy said he likes that. It's time we stop showing respect to arrogant and corrupt politicians. So that's what some people also think. But Mohammed Damongo is also heavily condemning it and saying that that kind of behavior is inhuman and unconstitutional. They should put a stop to it. So those are a few of your comments coming through on social media about the ordeal some deputy ministers had to go through in the hands of some students in the Ashanti region, teacher training students actually. Now, food poisoning is a serious illness. It can attack and kill suddenly. One easy way of getting is by ignoring the expiry date on packaged goods. It makes economic sense to buy things in bulk, but it's also easy to forget what you have in your pantry. So we asked people what they did with their expired and almost expired goods.
Expired goods, when I see that they are good, I give them out. I share them to friends, people that they don't have. I give them out to people that I don't have. In terms of foods, I throw them away. But clothing, I trim it, then I give it out.
I dispose of them, I throw them away, I get rid of them.
Oh, when I buy them, I throw them away, that's it.
Depends on the type of goods. If it's foods, I dispose them because there's nothing I can do with them anymore now. I just throw them because the expiry date now, just check and I see that it's expired.
Let's catch up with Lorde Duasare, who has what's trending.
It's a Wednesday, and hashtag Xenophobic essay is trending on Twitter. You see, locals in South Africa are attacking fellow Africans who are not from the land. Rather sad occurrences there. Let's go take some of their comments on Twitter. Now, the first one is from Ronald Ochu. Hope I pronounced it right. Steve Imbiku, Nelson Mandela all fought to see a peaceful essay, not one with hashtag Xenophobic essay. It's time Mr. SA President accounts for these actions. There's a tweet from Famida Miller, and it's actually a statement that Amnesty International made. It says here, there's no political willingness to change the situation. Hashtag Xenophobic essay. Next tweet is from Simba Alexis Sanchez. Black on black racism in South Africa makes me sick. Did Mandela fight for this kind of South Africa? Hashtag Xenophobic essay. Let's take another from Bishop Ikedi. The actions of South African blacks makes one regret they were freed from white overlords. Hashtag Xenophobic essay. More tweets in here. This is from X-Eku at A Bono. Okay. Hashtag Xenophobic essay. It is alleged foreign nationals are being attacked merely because they are foreign. Wrong. There is economic conflict in between. David Carter says, I wholeheartedly want to help, but do not have the means. So I speak out against hashtag xenophobia. It's not much, but it's something I can do. Final tweet is from Jojo Kovana. Hashtag xenophobic essay. How can human beings be treated like this? Well, let's hope that the situation will be kept soon enough, because we wouldn't want to be losing our fellow brothers and sisters. This has been What's Trending. My name is Lord Haisudasar.
A few of your comments coming through on WhatsApp on what we've been discussing so far. They really deserve to be chased. Bring back the training allowance before meeting us. And this is a nameless one, but on what happened in the Ashanti region when the deputy ministers for education and communication they weren't chased, but students walked out on them. And I have, well, someone is saying that someone is commenting on Ada's issue, but I cannot say what it is. But someone else comments, I can read, well, I think we don't have to draw conclusions now. Let's wait for the police to finish investigating the matter. That's right. There's another nameless comment. Please remember to send your names and locations when you are sending your comments via WhatsApp. And this is another one. Condolences to the family, especially the wife. And this is the issue about the 29-year-old man who was shot at Kwashieman earlier. The female version of Mr. B.
What was she trying to do?
She was using what I don't know, what do you call it? Her vocal cords to mimic accents, to mimic language. I don't know, but that's all time will allow us for this edition of Joy News Interactive and today's big story. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ifwakwa Harrison.
And my name is Stephen N.T.
All right, good evening.
Enjoy the rest of our programs.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.